Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Ask Sibs. You may or may not have noticed that I wasn't online yesterday on Monday. I was going to apologise, but as much as I love this and I love the sharing different thoughts and experiences and engaging with you, it was literally impossible due to Purple Go workload. And so I am sorry that I couldn't make it and connect, but equally it was out of my hands. And anyway, we're here. It's Wednesday, hump day, as some people call it. And I actually had a question in advance. Obviously, we get quite a lot of engagement and questions during the live stream. But I had my first question sent on a direct message. It's from John Clucas, who is actually someone I know in my hometown in Cambridgeshire. A couple of years ago, we did some work together. And John was just asking me about sort of setbacks and negativity. I think he also cited when you have negative comments from people. So I think he's speaking to, like, if you have, ideas or you're progressing with an idea and you get negative chatter, there's definitely a part of his question was around dealing with that. But then I think it can be more, extrapolated into general setbacks, whether that's in personal life, professional life, and just some thoughts really on how to bounce back. Now, first thing to mention, yesterday I was on a pre-recording for a conference I'm involved in this week, actually saying that I was involved in 3 conferences yesterday alone, and that was partly why I wasn't able to make the live stream. I did one for the Portuguese Tourist Board, straight into an air travel one, and then later on we did it in the evening because of someone being in Australia, someone being in California. It was real global. It's called Non-Obvious Diversity Conference, and I'll share the banner for that because the actual panel was really powerful, the discussion that I was involved in, and it will be premiered as part of the conference in the coming days. So I'll share the banner to give you a bit more insight if you fancy watching that. But one of the things that came out was the sort of the talent and the value of disabled people, and one of our quite well-known traits actually is resilience. And I think that just speaks to John's question about bouncing back from setbacks, that actually the biggest thing is resilience. Now, how to be resilient is probably a harder one to prescribe or describe or, give tangible, practical tips. I'll give it a bit of a go, or at least share generally maybe a moment in a minute when I've had to be resilient. But I think in the end, it's an outcome that, people, and I know, appreciate many people watching don't have a disability, but I think it was important to speak to that point that many disabled people, we face so many challenges every day to do the most basic things that we've just had to become resilient. And so I just want to put that out there, that one of the ways of bouncing back is having resilience. Now, speaking to that more, how to be resilient, maybe it's about practice, because as we said, disabled people facing these barriers every day, we just have to be resilient. There's no choice. And maybe practice makes perfect. I think in the long run, it would be nice that we don't have to be resilient, and that, having funding for social care and wheelchairs and healthcare and, access to buildings and transport shouldn't be as difficult as it is. And then maybe disabled people won't be known for resilience in the same way as compared to anybody else, because we'll just be more included in society. But the point there is probably practice helps, that the more adversity, the more difficulty, the more resilient we get. And I think if we take it out of the disability narrative, particularly the sort of influencers and entrepreneurs that I know watch my live streams, there will always be setbacks with projects and businesses. And even as I said before, in life, health, relationships, stuff breaking at home, like setbacks hit us every day. So I would definitely give one point as a now more generic point, is acknowledging and accepting, like not sort of burying our head in the sand, pretending it didn't happen, being a bit naive. I think the self-awareness that things are going wrong when they go wrong, but also more broadly, universally, that's life and this stuff happens. So there's definitely something around just having awareness that when things go wrong, accepting it for what it is. It's a moment in time. It will pass. There's definitely something else firing off in my mind about the talk I gave on Friday about public speaking. And you may remember I said it's not about you on stage, it's about the audience. And I think there's a similar takeaway in terms of when things go wrong, don't take it personally. It's not that that the world is out to get you, or you've done something particularly wrong that meant that it happened. So I think there's a sort of element of just accepting life throwing setbacks at us. And then kind of connected to that point, there's a thing around accountability in the sense that maybe things have gone wrong because there was something you did or didn't do, and not to beat yourself up about it, but to learn from it. And I think all these points I'm talking about very much converge and overlap, but the key takeaway, the key points would definitely be around resilience, around self-awareness, around that's just part of life and accepting it, and definitely not taking it personally. And I suppose the other part is gratitude, that if you then are able to focus on all the other things that are still in your life that are good and the things that are going well, you get more of a balance. So yes, that washing machine is broken down as a personal home setback, and it's going to cost money or whatever it might be. In a business sense, we didn't get the client we wanted. That there are difficulties running that campaign. Obviously, I'm talking from a marketing agency perspective, but whatever the setback is, you can also go, however, still got a roof over our head, still got money in the bank. And also that's, at the moment, COVID is creating some very difficult situations. And there are people really reeling from unemployment and lack of, certainty of the future. So I think, there's a self-awareness of where we're at, but then a general kind of, I suppose it sounds a bit crass, doesn't it? But things could be worse. And I think that is sometimes a helpful tool that I've found, to have that awareness that, whilst it feels like everything is crashing and burning, there's actually a lot of different things going on that, are still good. So that's the sort of finish up of my key points on today's live stream. A couple of things coming in from the audience. We've got Kevin saying a great panel yesterday. That was, I presume, Kevin, you'd have been on the air travel one. So glad you enjoyed it. And it was a very powerful one. We had someone from IATA, the CAA, real big global regulatory bodies, and looking at accessibility in air travel. So glad you could join that. Trish saying hello again. Good to see you, Trish. Good to be back today. And also Trish has then said, I'm finding it really hard at the moment as I want to run before I can walk since my cancer surgery. The most simple things that I used to do in seconds, that takes me longer now. It is really frustrating for me, and I wonder whether things will get back to how they used to be. Hope it does. I think the one thing that was firing off for me there, Trish, is take it a day at a time. So maybe, do set different kind of goals and accept that you've not got the energy. And I know I've read a few of your posts about the cancer surgery. Like, it sounds like you've really been through it, and it's going to take a while to have that recovery and that rehabilitation. So I think most of all, just be kind to yourself. Don't sort of push your body more than is physically possible, and also don't emotionally beat yourself up for not being able to do all the sort of things that you used to do, and maybe just set goals in a different way, that they are smaller, they can take longer, and I think just take it day by day, not remotely, parallel or comparison to what you've been through. But I'd say I am bloody knackered at the moment. I think, it's generally like January is a harder month. I'm always a bit wary of my health in the midwinter. Obviously we've got the virus, the pandemic this time as well. But just generally the shorter days, the colder days, I just do struggle. And Christmas, December's more fun because Christmas is coming. But almost that sort of January blues, but like less energy. Definitely, I'm feeling that at the moment. And then compounded with the workload at Purple Goat. So like I am really kind of getting to the evening, really tired, just dropping, trying to get as much sleep. And so what I said to you, Trish, I think is what I've been trying to say to myself this week as well, that I can just get up, do what is physically possible, give my best. But if everything doesn't get done and it rolls into tomorrow, we go again tomorrow. So I hope some of the general thoughts I gave before were still applicable, but then a couple other thoughts for you there as well, Trish. And then we got one coming in from Twitter saying, just happened, washing machine. I must be psychic now. I think I mentioned the washing machine because ours hasn't broken, but there's a couple of things that we're trying to just sort about it. So that was probably why I gave that slightly left field example. But equally, maybe I'm now becoming, telepathic there, in knowing that yours is broken down. So I hope you get it fixed and keep us posted on the washing machine issue. And definitely all the things I said in today's live stream are equally applicable for, worse things happen at sea kind of stuff. And I'm sure it will get sorted in the next day or two. But not to deny that these setbacks are a pain in the bum. Very last point, coming back to John originally with John Clucas's question about negative chatter. I think that's just very much about when you're clear on your own vision and values and missions and what you're trying to do in the world. I think that you should seek people's perspectives that and trust that they will give you honest feedback. So negative feedback isn't always bad, actually. But if it's just general, party pooping negativity, maybe sort of don't go to those sort of people for advice. But if they're just voluntarily giving you that kind of advice, be polite, be courteous, consider what they've said. But ultimately, don't feel that you have to take everybody's advice, particularly if it's unsolicited, on board, because hopefully in yourself what it is you're trying to achieve and how to get there. And you're never going to please everybody. And it's easier said than done, because I've had, people, particularly on social media over the years, say shitty stuff. But, that's the way of the world. That's the internet. That's social media. And it's, I guess my final point is sometimes having a bit of a thicker skin as well. So we've covered a lot, all about bouncing back from setbacks, about resilience, all sorts of other thoughts that I've had from my own experience. Some will have resonated, some will sound a load of rubbish, but I think it's quite a nice topic to point, because as much as I'm a positive optimist, there are those negative moments, and it's easy to feel a bit pessimistic at the moment. So I hope some of that was useful, and all being well, I'll be back tomorrow. Don't forget to get your questions in, #AskSibs, or DM me as John did, and it'd be a pleasure to answer more of your questions. But there's plenty I've got lined up of talking points. Get my teeth back in. And Iggy saying, cheers, Mark. So cheers, Iggy. As I say, hope you get your washing machine sorted. All right, have a great rest of the Wednesday, great hump day, and I'll be back again tomorrow for the next episode of Ask Sib. Bye-bye for now.